Thanks so much for tuning in to Waz Up San Diego. Today, Tara Hammond joined us from Sullivan Solar Power. So much great information on what the solar industry is doing. It is progressing fast. Let's check it out. Thanks so much for tuning in to Waz Up San Diego. I'm your host, Luke Wazaloo. Today, Tara Hammond from Sullivan Solar Power joined us. So thank you very much for being here, and tell us a little about yourself.
So I've been with Sullivan Solar Power for almost 9 years now.
Wow.
How I got involved, they were actually doing solar on campus at SDSU when I was studying. I was part of a couple environmental organizations there, one of which students tax themselves to pay for sustainability programs and projects. And so the solar projects...
Tax themselves? What do you mean?
It's the students created a referendum that said a little bit of every monthly or quarterly dues will go towards these projects. And so that's what recently built the Aztec Student Union. And there's other great projects on campus. I believe the gym as well and the Aquaplex, those were all through student referendums. So
wow, that's awesome.
Solar was being built, and that's what first interested me in the company and the industry. I wanted to work something in sustainability. I believe that the climate crisis is our #1 issue that we need to address, and solar fits in really well with that.
I agree. And if we don't do something, it's going to be our children and grandchildren that are the ones that suffer. So, and I haven't seen a lot more schools and commercial buildings kind of going that solar route. What trends are you seeing?
San Diego is always one of the top solar cities in the country, per capita residents, but also we have a lot of commercial solar. We were chatting earlier, last year we did solar for Petco Park. It's the largest solar power system in all of Major League Baseball. It's actually larger than the other 8 systems in the league combined. So we are proud of that. But we anticipate a huge increase in commercial solar throughout San Diego County as we are going to be moving towards a community choice energy program in 2021. So I would assume that every parking lot that the city owns, every building will have solar on it, and will help move San Diego to 100% clean energy by 2035, which is our legally mandated goal through the Climate Action Plan that was passed in 2015.
So in the next, 16 years, 100% solar powered is that just for all companies or just San Diego County,
The city of San Diego had passed that, and Assemblymember Todd Gloria, he had brought it to the state with a couple other electeds called Senate Bill 100 that moves the entire state to 100% clean energy by 2045. But Assemblymember Gloria mentioned that the state wouldn't have passed that had San Diego not been the leader here doing it beforehand. So it's exciting that we're leaders in many
so you
areas.
kind of spearheaded that talk. Well, that is amazing. And what about kind of residential? I know when you were coming in, you were mentioning that it's just kind of crazy right now because people are trying to get their systems installed by December 31st to get the 30%. Is it a 30% tax credit?
Right now there is a 30% tax credit for both residential and commercial solar projects. Next year it's only reducing 4% for residential and it reduces to 10% for commercial. But we anticipate that solar is going to continue to grow. And especially with the energy storage sector. So energy storage is fairly new for the solar power industry. You are probably aware there have been blackouts throughout the state. There are a lot of talks about it, and energy storage is going to be a way for homeowners and businesses to gain grid stability and to have backup power during those outages. They also, as a perk, will protect against some SDG&E rate changes and allow you to save more money as well.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of people kind of getting the Tesla battery packs, I believe is one of the more popular ones. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, the 2 most popular energy storage products in California right now in the residential sector is the Powerball. Panasonic makes it, Tesla brands it, that, and the residential energy storage unit from LG Chem. I actually just today turned the switch to my solar power system on, and I have the LG Chem unit.
Gotcha. At your own home?
Yes.
Congratulations. That is amazing. So what is solar kind of a good option for just anybody at this point? Because I know that prices, as the technology continues to evolve, I'm assuming the price of the systems are going down, plus the efficiency is going up. So is it kind of a no-brainer at this point for everybody, especially with the tax credits and...
Unfortunately, not every single home is going to be able to go solar. There could be trees, other shading, and some other reasons why. However, with the City of San Diego's Climate Action Plan, 100% of our energy will be from renewables. With solar financing, it makes sense for a family if your bill's about $130 or more, where
Gotcha.
from month one you can reduce your electric bill, you can replace your SDG&E bill with a lower solar monthly loan. We do have clients who go solar who have lower bills than that, myself included, and you will see your payback is just going to be a little bit longer.
It's just extended out, but long term, as assuming SDG&E rates go up, it's just going to make it more beneficial too.
A typical family today is going to have about a 4 to 6 year payback for solar.
Wow.
And so if you have a smaller bill, maybe it's 7, 8, 10 years, but you'll still save money while having that grid independence. And then there's other benefits with solar. San Diego, I think we're number 5 for 5th worst air pollution in the nation.
Really?
And there are communities of concern that are hit the worst. And so by having more solar power, we're able to reduce our local air pollution, among our CO2 emissions. We are able to invest in our local economy. The San Diego solar industry provides a $1 billion economic benefit.
That's insane.
In addition to homeowners and families, businesses who are able to save money, reinvest that into the community. So there are a lot of wins.
Wow. And so you said number 5, that's kind of a crazy statistic. I had no idea that the pollution was that bad compared to other parts. Are there any cities in particular that are hit a little bit harder, or?
I've heard County Supervisor Nathan Fletcher talk about City Heights. A child there is many more times likely to have asthma than in some other wealthier coastal towns. And so it is disproportionately hitting communities of concern.
Is it like the density of the cities, or what is kind of causing, City Heights in particular? Just out of curiosity.
I think you're near freeways,
Okay.
and we also have some dirty power plants in the region, and certain valleys you will have more smog, and so I think it's various factors.
Gotcha. Very fascinating to me. So tell me a little bit about the San Diego Padres solar panel system. So you said it's the largest and it's bigger than the other 8 MLB stadiums combined. So what kind of drove the Padres to do that, and where is it going? Is it going on the park? How is that going to work?
So we installed it about almost 2 years ago, and it's on the top rafters. So if you're ever behind home plate, you're behind first or third, if you look up, you can see a little bit. We actually had initially given a quote for a much bigger system, but it was on a parking lot that we weren't able to make something happen. But there was over a mile of conduit throughout the stadium that was used. So it made it very unique. It was one of our most challenging installations. Our electricians were 80 feet up in the air. We use IBEW local 569 electricians, all union electricians, and they did a fantastic job with that project.
Wow, that's awesome. How long did that take to complete the whole installation process?
It took a couple of months.
Yeah.
The mile of conduit, that would take some time, definitely.
Yeah, I'm sure 80 feet in the air just suspended with scissor lifts or whatever they're doing.
We have some awesome photos that are great.
I can only imagine. So when you're downtown, what are some of your favorite restaurants or some of your favorite places to go?
I'm actually vegan, so I will tend to try to hit up some vegan restaurants, but I dine at non-vegan places as well. Cafe Gratitude up in Little Italy, that's definitely a place I enjoy going. But
are there any other favorite vegan spots, even if not just downtown, but just at San Diego as a whole?
Green Door Cafe in La Jolla. Chef Martin over there, he is awesome. It's an all-vegan cafe, and it's delicious. He actually catered our wedding last year, 80 people, 100% vegan, and it was delicious.
That's amazing.
What about your favorite places to eat?
Some of my favorite places to eat? Oh, there's just so many. Recently, me and my wife just went to Isabella's Cantina down in PB. I love that place. Their breakfast there is phenomenal. I'm not vegan, but I've been trying to eat a little bit healthier, so they have a lot of like the brown rice and with the eggs and all that, which I love too as well. And it's it's got that small mom and pop feel to it as
Heard of it, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it is pretty phenomenal. But so tell me a little bit more. So the mandate, the 2020 mandate, what is that all about?
So last year legislation was passed that says all new homes in California have to have solar on them.
Okay. So all new construction residential homes have to have it?
Yes. If they pulled the permit in December of 2019, then you might be seeing new homes built early in the year without solar.
Gotcha.
But it really incentivized for solar and energy storage. And so that will reduce our greenhouse gases as a state and will help with grid stability.
Okay, so is that also the same for commercial as well?
I don't believe commercial has that mandate, but I can look into that and get back to you.
Okay, no, I'm just curious too as well, because it's fascinating. I'm a huge solar advocate too as well, and anything that we can do to kind of help out the environment is great. And then the other thing that you mentioned earlier was, I can't think of the term, but giving alternatives to buy, because right now, SDG&E is the only source for energy, but there's programs where they purchase power and then can distribute it themselves, or how? Explain that a little bit to me.
So community choice energy is going to go into effect in 2019 in San Diego.
Okay.
And this is something that was a result of the Climate Action Plan. The Climate Action Plan said we had to get to 100% clean energy, and SDG&E had submitted proposals of how they thought we could get to 100% clean energy, and then there was one with community choice energy, which is a proven program. Marin County in Northern California has been in it since 2010, and we see local control. So there's a local board that's going to be purchasing energy instead of SDG&E, who is primarily looking out for their shareholders, not ratepayers.
Absolutely.
And so this local entity can purchase local rooftop solar contracts. So there's a huge opportunity for San Diego solar companies to earn these bids and provide these local projects. And most community choice energy programs in California offer about a 3% reduction in electric rates, and then can also provide different programs. So maybe one city decides they're going to offer electric vehicle rebates, or another city wants to reduce rates. There's some flexibility there.
So whatever the need is for that individual city, for the most part.
Or depending if, right now we're looking at 2 regional community choice programs. And so the city of San Diego is joining Imperial Beach, Encinitas, not Carlsbad, Lemon Grove, and another one that's slipping my mind right now.
That's fine.
But that's going to be the first program, and then there's a North County one that might join the County of San Diego, as well as Santee. And so there could be 2 separate programs or more here.
So how does that, for SDG&E, because they're kind of advocating for it, but at the same time they have to look out for their shareholders. So how is that going to kind of affect them as a whole, and how does that work?
So SDG&E was the only investor and utility in the state that was actively opposing community choice energy. They weren't allowed to be doing that, so they had Sempra, their parent company, create Sempra Services, and they had this campaign that was, what I believe, spreading myths and lies about community choice energy and really confusing the public.
Gotcha.
And their campaign failed, and we have moved forward. So SDG&E, they will still be doing the billing, they will still maintain the grid, and this local entity will be purchasing power with consumers, our local families
just using
and
their
businesses in
backbone in
mind.
their system.
And La Mesa is the other city that was
Gotcha.
joining that regional San Diego one. That should be operational in 2021.
Okay. And one question I'm personally getting on, not sure if you have a lot of knowledge on this, is just the whole change in the energy to where it's like peak and off peak, and clients of mine that are coming in from out of state, like, hey, which program do I choose? And it's hard for me to kind of articulate and answer that, because if you use a lot of energy between, 4 and 9 o'clock, then you might want to just choose the other one. But if you can do your laundry and do the other things, how does that affect new people getting solar? Because most of the energy, I'm assuming, is generated between 12 and 5 and in the morning, because that's when the sun's the highest. How does that kind of affect the rates and with that program that's being implemented?
Sure. So when you go solar, you're on an agreement with the utility called net metering. And anyone who went solar the last couple of years moving forward, you're on time of use rates. And so there are a few time of use rates you can be on. And we use a software where we can look at when a consumer is using energy, overlay it with their solar power, and then look at rates. And so that's how we're designing their systems, and we make recommendations on what rate is best for them. If they have an electric vehicle, then they have a couple other additional options as well. But it is complicated. I think it's intentional. People have a hard time understanding their bills, and then you're adding solar to it. It's just more complex. But we really pride ourselves on educating and explaining. And we do monthly seminars, about 6 a month, and a big portion is going over time of use rates, how that works with net metering, because there is a lot of confusion. And then there's companies that are misleading people as well. So education is definitely key for people to understand their energy options.
Absolutely. And if somebody wanted to attend one of the 6 monthly seminars, how would they kind of find out all the details for that?
So November, December, we're on pause for our events. We're starting up in February, but sdsolarexperience.org.
Okay.
We're going to do a big kickoff event in February like we have done the past 3 or 4 years. And then there'll be 6 seminars across the county every single month. Climate Action Campaign, a great local nonprofit, they will speak at many of these, sharing why it's important to fight the climate crisis. And then we share the tools of how you're able to do it.
Okay. Well, I love it. Well, again, thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you for tuning in to Waz Up San Diego. And I will see you next week.